All right. We are live. What's going on, everybody? This is Rob Garcia, the Warrior Strategist, and I know you guys haven't seen me in a while. I think today's Tuesday. I entered my chamber at Thursday. By chamber, I mean my home. And that's when I started not feeling well. And that's how this whole story begins. Let me back up a little bit. Sorry. I'm composing thoughts. I'm still not operating with a full processor right now mentally. Today we're going to talk about PR frequently asked questions. We're going to go through characteristics of a good PR firm, what you should ask, what a PR plan is, stuff like that. Just basic PR stuff. I'm going to be going off on a couple different topics, just updating about the last few days, and then really dive into PR for a bit, just teach like a little mini workshop, and we'll keep it fun. We'll keep it interesting. All right. Before we get started, let's give a shout out real quick. Tinker's Affliction. If you love stories about the supernatural, Tinker is a young genius in the foster care system that finally, she's about to age out, and she finally gets adopted by a family with a dark, foreboding secret. But Tinker has a secret, and you can find out all of Tinker's secrets in Tinker's Affliction. Google it. It's available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble online. Tinker's Affliction, Dana Encarnacion, a wonderful, wonderful book. Plenty to keep you busy. This bad boy is 500 pages plus. I love this book. Tinker's Affliction. Get it today. You will not regret it, especially if you dig the supernatural. Okay. Let's see. Story time. And if you are tuning in, say hi to me in comments and let me know what you're working on today. And if you don't know me, tell me what you do. I always love meeting new people and like finding out what they do, because somehow, somewhere, I could probably help you. If you don't know me and you're randomly seeing this, I am Rob Garcia, the Warrior Strategist. I teach PR and visibility strategies in San Diego. I have been off the radar for the most part for probably 4 or 5 days. And I'm going to get into why here in a minute. This is my first broadcast, probably in 6 days. Still a little delirious today, so bear with me. So we're going to tell a short story of what's been going on. So Thursday night, I start not feeling great. I took myself out to Mexican food. I was working on this novel that a client hired me for to ghostwrite. And I know it sounds crazy. Rob, you do PR and visibility. What? You're a ghostwriter now? How does that work? Well, I'm something like a 10-time author. And very few people actually know that about me. I've written books about speed learning. I've self-published books about charter schools, dieting, like specialized diets, a book on success, a book on teen success, all kinds of shit. I have an entire catalog. A lot of times I never marketed the stuff that I published, which is insane. Like I just put it out there and got some sales, but I never actually like did full-on book launch plans, right? I know it sounds crazy. I was a writer first, and then I learned PR later, if that makes sense. So anyway, they hired me to ghostwrite. Industry standard is about $12,000 in 3 months to have a book ghostwritten. The last book I just published on speed publishing, so it's about 9 hours. I'm talking from idea to published book, 9 hours. So I'm kind of fast at what I do. None of that 3-month bullshit. None of that $12,000 bullshit. On average, if somebody comes to me with about, say $5,000 for a small book and maybe $8,000 for a larger book, I'll probably do it. And I self-publish, and I make your sale page, and I, get the cover. I do everything. It's all in one. But I don't take those assignments often, but I will do it. So anyway, start not feeling good. I'm working on this novel. I've been working at it for maybe 3 work days. It's an awesome novel. It's my first fiction novel I've ever written. And Thursday night, I just got super, like I was just starting to not feel good. I'm like, fuck, I feel like I'm just coming down with something. And for the most part, I thought it was just, hey, it's going to be here a day or two, whatever. Friday, I'm trying to remember. Friday and Saturday, I had a splitting headache all day. Violent stomach issues. I'll spare you the details. I'll just say I lost over the last couple of days. I probably lost 6 pounds. Then it switched. I had a fever. I had body chills, extreme insomnia, and then we went into a heat wave, and my air conditioner wouldn't turn on. So I was laying in bed like a sweaty pig. Can't imagine why I share these details with people. This is why I'm single. So like for 2 days, I was just in a very miserable place. It took 2 days just about completely off. I was just trying to sleep. Very, very odd state of mind. And then I felt a little bit better at the end of Saturday, and I got back up, did some typing on the novel. Sunday, I lost my fucking mind and just put all my time into the novel. And then trying to remember the timeline. In what Manny Wolf described as the upward cycle of a manic spiral. My God, Manny, you should be the fucking writer, not me. Actually, you are. You're an author, but sometimes Manny Wolf can take 2 pieces of data and extrapolate the most perfect conclusion. And that's what he did. He's like, oh yeah, sounds like you're in the upswing of a manic cycle. I'm like, yeah. So on I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember. Like I'm having gaps in the time-space continuum because one of the days, I think it was Sunday. Yeah, it was Sunday night. I stayed up writing until 4 a.m. until I finished that fucking novel. 4 a.m. Like I started at 6 a.m. And then I went all the way around the clock, just writing, taking short breaks, going back, writing, talking to the client, getting some feedback, some information, blah, blah, blah. And at 4 a.m. on Monday morning, I sent out the final content draft to the client, 317 pages long of my fiction novel. Took me 5 work days. Even I was impressed. I'm like, that's incredible. And I can't, I'm so objectively close to this that I can't even tell if what I wrote is good or it might be the worst piece of pig shit I've ever put to paper, right? I honestly, like, I read it and I think it's good. I think it goes well. There's a lot of funny points. There's a lot of suspense. I think it's some of the best writing I've ever done, but I definitely crafted craziness because I was having a fucking, like, I was having sweats and fevers and shit and headaches when I was writing it. So sometimes you don't know. Your mental state affects your, what you're putting out on paper. And then you guys will love this. Sunday night at 11 p.m., some idiot, I'm like deep in thought, right? And I got to show you real quick. Like when you write a fiction novel, you have to create the entire world, right? And I have a newfound respect for like J.K. Rowling, who did Harry Potter, George T. Martin, who did like the Game of Thrones, like all this shit. I can't even imagine the worlds that they created. It's so intense. Just for this novel, right? Here are some of the guides and aids and diagrams that I made to create this. And I'm not going to give away details till the book's out, really, but I can give you some, like, just, summarized plot points. It's about a veteran woman, and she has a very high-level bodyguard called a body man. And she has a lot of threats against her life because she goes down to the border and she tries to, like, secure the border, and people are obviously against it. The cartels are against it. Government people are against it. Blah blah blah. So she's out there making a fuss, causing a ruckus, and getting a lot of threats on her life. And so I'm writing this book, and here are some of the things that I had to use. Okay, so first of all, the book itself spans 15 years. So I had to make timelines for each of the chapters and each of the sections of time, the swaths of time. Okay. Then I had to have chronology. How old is this character in this year? How old is this character in this year? How old are they in comparative years? After that, oh, here's all the events happening in the book at the same time. Because you have the woman's story. You've got the body man's story and background, and her background. You've got the events happening to her in modern times. You've got their backstories. You've got the cartel. You got to introduce the characters of the cartel, what they're up to. You got to introduce her political rivals. How are these people all coming together, right? Then, chapter summaries, okay? So once I finished volume 1, which is like the first 5 chapters, what's volume 2 entail? And then volume 3 obviously is the meat. So this is volume 3. This is volume 2. Volume 2 is the buildup, getting to know the characters, developing their backstories, their interactions, their relationships. Volume 3 is the excitement, the suspense, the gunfire, the fucking car chases, the interactions with the cops, like all kinds of crazy shit, right? Then for the final rescue in a different country, might I add, I had to have sketches for the scenes because the client who hired me to write this book said, write this out where each chapter is almost like an episode so we can try for Netflix. And I'm like, fuck me. Wow. Okay. So yeah, this is a basic diagram of a cartel home, like a compound, a barn down the hill, and strategically where a team of military veterans is going to have to extract a kidnapped person. Okay. And this is also, I keep my imagination going and start to think, okay, how does this all come together? And I know this all sounds fucking batshit. At the very beginning of the project, I printed up a summary and then what's going to happen in each chapter. And this is where ChatGPT came in. Because I used ChatGPT for this mainly for official documents because this is a military/law enforcement themed book. So I'm issuing news stories and press releases and military orders and official and TV show transcripts, shit like that. ChatGPT, boom, 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 easily. And then a lot of times I would go in and I'd say, okay, what are 10 plot ideas you can generate that'll help me to shock the reader? And it's like, oh, here, why don't you have somebody die? Why don't you have an action-packed sequence? Why don't you have go deeper into this person's background? Why don't you go into emotional depth between these two people? So we had all these plot points that we printed out. And then, yeah, that's how this all came together and probably why I was able to write this thing so fucking fast because I created all these diagrams and ideas and training guides to keep me focused. And I didn't have to use everything. And we actually changed a lot of this stuff, but it was good to build the framework, right? Once I had the framework, then I could craft it and say, does this make sense? Is this engaging? Like, would the reader want to go to the next chapter or are they going to put this down and go mow their fucking grass? I am in this novel, which is even better because I get to play myself, right? Who doesn't love writing about themselves and making themselves the hero of their own story? Some comedian was talking about Matt Damon and how Good Will Hunting is essentially him writing his own story and making himself the coolest guy ever. Agree. And that's who I got to be. And guess what? I didn't write myself as the cool guy in the story because I'm only a secondary character, which I understand. I have some cool roles doing very uncool shit, but I'm very grateful my client allowed this to happen creatively. She's like, yeah, you be a secondary character. Just remember that, myself and this other person are the main characters. I'm like, all right, cool. And I just, there's it's very funny because I added 2 people that I know that I served with. and I wrote it exactly who we are, what we do in the military. You guys will get a better understanding of my own psychology. Everything about me in this novel is completely true. I'm pretty much the same guy. I just gave myself a fake nickname. They call me Skolnick from Revenge of the Nerds, right? Because it's funny and it's a good cultural reference, and it describes how I feel in the world sometimes. But my character in the book, DeVry Dropout, true. Air Force Master Sergeant, 1 Charlie 5 reservist, true. Likes Legos and drinking Coors Light alone on a Friday night and really bad with women. True. So the story just flows. It's essentially, it's like, hey, Rob, put yourself in this fucking book. And your character has this pivotal role helping these characters with his unique and very nerdy skill sets that involve electronics. So that was a really fun part, getting to write about yourself and actually being in an action novel. So yeah, I had to look up a lot of stuff. I really liked writing this because it gave me a chance to research fun shit and to learn about things. Some of it takes place in Mexico, so I had to look up time zones in Mexico. I had to look up, are there bears in Mexico? What's the weather like? I got to learn more cool guy military tactical shit that I'm not super experienced at. I got to study night vision and thermal imaging scopes, speed of an M16, like how fast you can empty a 30 round mag. And I think I wrote it to a point. I wasn't trying to be Tom Clancy, right? I'm not gonna go in and hey, here are all the technical specs of a Russian Viking class submarine. I don't need, the reader doesn't need to know how long an M16 is from barrel to freaking, end, whatever. I probably just murdered those terms. But you get my drift. But I did want to take it to a level that's the guy raised his gun. I didn't want to be like a 3rd grade book report either. So I did do a lot of technical research on this. I made it as realistic as possible, but I also put in some just really good. I'm really proud of the dialogue, to be honest, because there's good banter. There's horrific jokes sometimes. Because military and law enforcement, we use dark humor, and that's what civilians never understand about us. We joke about stuff to process trauma. And so I have characters in there about to die, about to literally get in the biggest shootout of their lives, cracking jokes at the most suspenseful opportunity, with guys with 20 guns pointed at them about to unload. So anyway, I'm really, really proud of the way that this book came out. I read it and I laugh. And I have interactions in the book that I've enjoyed reading in other novels. So think about a book you've read where you read something so incredible that someone said to somebody, or a surprise event that it literally made you feel better. It made you laugh, or you're like, oh my God. This is how I am when I read my Iron Man graphic novels. Because the writing in Iron Man comic books is really good. The writers capture a lot of sarcasm, a lot of banter, a lot of really sharp people. And that's what I was trying it for in this novel. There's pop culture references. There's blinding violence. Because this is an action novel, and I didn't want it to be all serious like Silence of the Lambs. I started off with the first couple chapters as just character development. And you want to get the reader to like the main characters immediately, or at least understand what's going on in their head. And so I want to make them sympathetic characters. They're not perfect people, but they're likable, and you understand their motivations. And they're not going to please everybody. They're just not. And the very first chapter, my client gave me very good advice. And they're like, no, don't start off with backstory of my character. Start off with a very brief summary of the kidnapping, like the quick, abridged, like this is how it went down, not the full details of it, but just you just open scene. She comes out, she goes down the driveway, a couple guys flash badges at her. She realizes the badges are fake, and she runs for her life. And then at the end of chapter 1, it says in 2 days she would be dead. That's an intro. I've never ever written fiction before, I don't think. And I've never ever had a project of this magnitude. Um, hey Lori. It's like I said, I'm really proud of the way it turned out, but the reality of a fiction book is not based on what I think. It's what the client thinks, and it's what the audience thinks. So I'm not going to know if this is a great book until people start giving me feedback. And I started thinking about what the criteria should be for is this a good book. And this is Rob's opinion, so bear with me. I didn't look this up. I just winged it. I just asked the universe. I'm like, okay, what thinking back, what do we judge a book on? How do we evaluate? Does it inspire actual emotion and connection with the reader? Is the dialogue and the banter funny and interesting and realistic? Does it flow well? Does it have a compelling nature? There are books that I have read that I did not want to set down. Like I was almost consumed with, to where time froze like a Prince song, where you just forget the world. And you're just in this small microcosm. And it's just you and these characters. And that's what I wanted for this book. I wrote sections for military veterans, and I wrote sections for women that love romance novels, because that's what this is the relationship between this professional woman and the body man that protects her. So there are scenes of bonding and intimacy and connection, because you write for men differently than you write for women. And these are all things I learned in the big 5 days that I wrote this. Women are more drawn to the experience, the smells, the touch, what they observe. Women are very big on the big picture experience, right? Men are more short bursts of action, really clever dialogue, and guy shit. I'm sorry if this sounds sexist. I don't care. I'm just shooting from the hip. Men like chases and fights and shooting, action, things that threaten life. And both of them like surprises, plot twists, things that make you stop in your tracks and say, fuck, I didn't see that coming. A reveal, a character dying, a revelation that nobody figured out, a surprise romance, an assassination, somebody turning out to be who they weren't. These are things that everybody likes. They like to be surprised. The M. Night Shyamalan plot twist. And I had a few. I try not to overdo it, but another thing I tried to do to make it really interesting was a very dramatic cliffhanger in as many chapters as I could. Really crazy shit where something would happen and you're like, there's no way this character would ever do this or accept this condition. And they do, without a hesitation. You're like, what the fuck just happened? I have to read this next chapter. I have probably four particular scenes in this book I'm really proud of because I had to paint these pictures in my mind, and I just crafted everything in my imagination. I did a lot of research, and like I said, Sunday night I stayed up till 4 a.m. until I finished it and was happy with it. I've gone back a few times, added some stuff, and I finally just closed out all the content, everything I need to do, and sent it to the client. We're gonna have like one last round of edits and content, and then I'm doing the final edit, final formatting. She'll send me a cover, and this book will be out. And then we're gonna option it for Netflix. We're gonna option it for a film. Um, it's just fucking crazy. I, I think in my heart there is actually a surprisingly good chance that this could be the project that puts me on the map. Surprisingly enough, I've done a lot of things in my time. I've gone semi-viral once or twice, um, but my real goal, like I guess one of my life goals, and I should be a lot more specific and meaningful, um, is that one project would take off and really capture the hearts of millions of people and change the world in a positive way, and not so that I make money. I mean, money would be a byproduct of me creating something incredible, but more to just put something out there that really brings joy to people. That's my goal. If you guys know me like on a deeper level, I really do like making people laugh. I do like making people happy and trying to make their lives better. That's why I get up every day. There's too many negative things out there. Too many people have adopted real super shitty attitudes, and it's just not for me. I'm in a constant mission to just try and keep people happy, and it's exhausting sometimes. But with the projects I put out, with the work I put out, I really try and just create things that make people's lives better. It's never been about money. It's never been about being rich and successful and famous and blah blah blah. It's about being Rob and about just putting out my natural energy and hopefully attracting the right people. And I have been. I've got incredible people in my corner. Anyway, this has gone a lot longer than I thought it would. So that was my novel. I'm really happy that I got where it's at. I'm happy it turned out the way that it did. We covered every element the client wanted in the novel. The length of it's fucking crazy, and I'm not sure if it's going to be a typical 6x9 size or paperback size because that'll make it like 450 pages. We'll figure that out when we get to editing. But anyway, yeah, Rob finished his novel. So let's move on to the next section real quick. But before we do, let's give a shout out real quick to Really Designs, who made this incredible t-shirt for me. If you guys need high quality t-shirts and you want to support unbelievable military owned companies out there, veteran owned companies, check out Really Designs at reallydesigns.biz. They have the entire Warrior Strategist clothing line, which is my business logo. You can get the military grade autism t-shirt, reallydesigns.biz. This shirt is incredible. It is athletically fitted for my, superior Air Force physique. Comes in a couple different colors. And I have the Warrior Strategist with the subdued logo t-shirts as well. I'm actually going to be placing an order today. But Really Designs also does the workout gear for Brian Big Country Conwell, who just popped on. But if you scroll down, like all their clothing lines, you're going to see these amazing companies. And when you order clothing from them, you're helping veteran-owned businesses because all the veterans get a cut of the clothing that's sold. It's worth the investment for a couple reasons. First of all, you're helping veteran-owned companies that deserve it. Because it's too cliche to just say, I'm a veteran, man, you owe me something. No, it's not that shit. It's more if you are approved and work with Really Designs, you're a good company. They don't just take anybody. They have to, pass you and approve you and look at what you're doing. You can't be an evil scumbag. I've enjoyed working with them for years. They're a great company. They're a family. They work really hard, but the quality of the materials is what really does it. Like the quality of the screen printing, the quality of the t-shirts. They've sent me some prototypes that are amazing, and I'm always grateful. But yeah, check them out at reallydesigns.biz. And I'll just give you a very basic call to action. If you like this shirt, the military grade autism shirt in olive drab, pick one up. Reallydesigns.biz. And anytime someone sends me a screenshot or that they purchased one of the Warrior Strategist shirts or clothing, I will send you a gift. Maybe it's a PR ebook. Maybe it's a consult with me for 15 minutes about PR for free. Maybe it's a mini course, something. You send me a screenshot of one of the Warrior Strategist clothing lines or this military grade autism shirt. Message me that screenshot. I'll give you a choice and I'll send you a free gift. That's my promise to you. I do it every time as a thank you for supporting the Warrior Strategist and supporting Really Designs. All right. Now, let's get to PR real quick. We're going to ask and answer some basic frequently asked questions. Marshall Taryn did an amazing video, and it really outlined the need for clarity because there's so much bullshit out there in the PR world. Where do I even start? I mean, I don't want this to be like a full college lecture, and this is going on 30 minutes. I don't want to go too long. But I just want to sum up some basic stuff. We'll just say this is for people that are fairly new to the PR game. They've got a small to medium-sized company, and they want to know more about PR. They're interested in it, but they're not really sure like where to start or what to expect. That's what this is for. And if you got questions, pop them in comments. I'll be happy to answer them on air. All right. So right off the top, what does a good PR pro do? And the answer is not what you think. A good PR pro or agency is a storyteller. They craft the narrative that makes you or your company interesting enough to journalists, reporters, media, bloggers to write about or to feature. That is what a PR agency or pro does. It's seeing the potential of somebody, crafting a compelling narrative that people will want to watch and read about, and then presenting it to the media. I don't give a fuck what anyone else tells you. That is the epitome of PR, what it should be. Now, there are subsets to PR, like reputation management and, public relations and press conferences and shit like that. That's all part of it. But at the end of the day, a person comes to me. They're like, Rob, I want to make a PR plan. Here's what I do. How can we craft this into something cool? And that's my job. I'm the creativeness. Brian Big Country Conwell's on here. He's watching. I saw this dude completely randomly on Facebook one day. It's like the universe brought us together, man. And what caught me was his nickname. Because back in the day, there used to be this MMA fighter named Roy Big Country Nelson. And there is a video on YouTube that still makes me cry when I watch it. I can't watch it very much because it will literally bring tears to my eyes. Roy Big Country Nelson is a fat guy. He's got a giant belly. He's got a big mullet. Like, he looks like he works in a gas station in Alabama. And the beginning of the video is Joe Rogan just laughing at it. I mean, not in a mean way, but he's just saying, yeah, it doesn't, he doesn't look like a guy's got a good cardio plan. And then Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA comes on. And for 5 minutes, you're just watching Roy Nelson beat the living shit out of some of the best MMA fighters there are out there. Makes me cry every time. every fucking time. It's just as powerful as watching John Cena visit sick kids in the hospital. The point is, his nickname was Big Country, and one day I see Brian Conwell in a video of him working out in the gym. I just see this giant tattooed veteran on a prosthetic working out in the gym, and his name was Big Country. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And I reached out to him, and I just said, hey, man, I like your message. I like what you're doing. You know, let me work for you for free for a bit. Let me craft this story and get you out in front of some people. That was a year and a half, 2 years ago. And it's been an amazing business relationship. Gotten him on TV several times. I've gotten him a bunch of interviews. But it's been a great PR experience because I saw his potential. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's pretty cool. You know, guy in a prosthetic working out in the gym, blah, blah, blah. But they don't know the backstory. They don't know everything Brian went through. A lot of people don't know that Brian has won 15 medals now at para-athlete events. He's very skilled. He's a great power lifter. He's done discus, shot put, all this stuff. I see this value in my head, and I see the potential in somebody. And so that's what qualifies them to be my client. And so once I was able to capture Brian's essence, I reached out to him for a lot of details because that's how I operate. I have to ask a lot of questions like Sherlock Holmes. And then once we get that narrative crafted, I will write something that will fucking grab you by the throat. And that's why I like working with Brian. He's had some pretty impressive wins. He's been through a lot, but I get a little choked up every time I tell a story. And I get out there and I'm reaching out to reporters and I'm sending photos of them, and it doesn't, it doesn't feel like work. It really doesn't. It feels like, listen, you fuck, this might be the story of the year for you. You really should probably read this. And then I just, I don't speak like that when I contact reporters, but that's in my head, that's what I'm doing. Thanks, Marshall. Ginger and David, I'm sure, are super proud of this one. So anyway, that's what a PR person does. And Marshall himself summed it up really well. A PR person or agency is a storyteller that takes your narrative and crafts it into something that appeals to reporters and journalists and media companies for public consumption. They also have to have the hard skills as well. The storytelling is the soft skills, the creativity. The hard skills are knowing how to make a press release and issue it to the wire, knowing how to make a database of applicable industry level publications, knowing how to develop rapport with reporters and not sound like a lunatic when you reach out to them because they're getting hounded for free coverage every single day. So that's what they can do. And Marshall also talked about unrealistic expectations. And this was something he and I had to learn early on because we did a few things together. And throughout my career, I've gotten better at what I do. But in the earlier days, I was still learning. And a lot of times I would take on jobs that I wasn't quite 100% skilled at, that I thought I could do. And that's always, PR is like marketing in the sense that it's nonlinear. And this is a very important thing for people to understand when they're trying to grasp, put their head around what PR is. It's not a linear process. Is like, hey, you pay your mechanic and you get your oil changed. That's a linear process. Say, pay your mechanic $120. Hey, your oil filter, he gets Ted Fox will tell you, you get under the car, you unscrew, 4 or 5 oil filter screws, you drain the fluid of the oil, and then you put in a new filter, and then you refill, valvoline, whatever. It's the same cookie cutter approach every single system. That is a linear process. It's always a straight line, right? PR is not a linear process. Same with marketing. Your results are always going to be different. Your ROI is always going to be different. It is a fluctuating variable. Okay? Think of it in waves. The PR person only has a certain amount of control. A better PR person has established connections. They write better. They have a better handle on their processes. And they can even, after a certain amount of time, they can give you a reasonable estimate, reasonable, as to what to expect. But the thing that the PR person is working against is the decision-making of the reporters, journalists, bloggers, media companies. That's where people get it messed up. That's why when somebody messages me and they're like, "Hey, Rob, I want to work with you, but what ROI can I expect on this investment? What's going to happen? Can you give me?" Somebody just did this actually, and I DQ'd him as a client. This is honest to God, true story. They reached out and they said, "Okay, we're going to shoot for this in like 2 months. What publications will I be in? What reporters should I expect to talk to? And what kind of stories should I expect?" And I'm like, "That's not how PR works. I'm not the right guy for you. Good luck in your endeavors." And then they started off the email with, "I'm on a really tight budget." And then they listed out 12 lines of demands and then 3 lines of questions. And I'm like, "Okay, tight budget. Cool. There's the door. I don't operate like that. I'm a professional." And that's how it goes. Can you imagine the look your mechanic would give you if you said, "Hey, I'm on a tight budget. I got $20. What can you do to change my oil?" He would laugh you, he or she would laugh you out the door. So anyway, when a person asks me what's the ROI on PR, I know they have zero idea about how PR works, because that is a very uninformed question. It's not a bad thing. I mean, the average person doesn't, has no clue, because they walk in expecting a linear process. That's the problem. And Marshall summed it up best. Because he had to evolve and he had to grow and he had to learn about, okay, this is a realistic expectation for PR. This is the lasting effects. And then if you look at it as more of a legacy building investment, you'll start to understand it. And if you relax specific standards and just trust your person, vet them, make sure they have their shit together, a lunatic like me. But that's how you can get a better PR experience. So anyway, that's what they cannot do. So here are some bad things, bad expectations for a PR pro when you're debating your plan. First of all, make me famous overnight is not a thing. Make me famous by next week is not a thing. PR is the long game. I've had people in the past throw me a lot of money, and they had crazy expectations. Like, "Hey, I need to be on Fox News like next week. I need to be on this CNN. I need to be on the cover of all these major newspapers immediately." That ain't happening. And if you refuse to listen to your PR person, you just throw a bunch of money, disappear for fucking 3 months, you're going to be very disappointed with your results. Make me famous overnight is not how it fucking works. Hawk Tua might be the only example recently. And that wasn't a PR plan. That was a drunk, wasted girl in Tennessee getting really lucky. Virality and high view content aren't predictive. You never know what's going to hit. I've had 5 articles go viral. Can I see the commonalities that they had? Absolutely. It's very easy to go viral if you piss people off. And it's not who I want to be because I don't have time for the arguments and the debates and the negative energy it attracts. You don't believe me? Post about Trump for 30 days on Facebook. Every single day, do a Trump post and watch the smooth brains come out and just argue and fill up your feed with negative energy. In 5 days, you'll be like, fuck this. Okay. Your mental health will be gone. Virality occurs, ethical virality. I should trademark that, Andy Nelson. Ethical virality occurs when you capture people's emotions and you tell a good narrative that they want to get behind. And if it makes them feel good, they'll share it. They'll share it without being asked. I'll share something if it's extremely funny, like hits me in the gut, or it's extremely clever or creative. I saw a video the other day of a guy and a girl walking down a sidewalk, and some guy screams out, "Hey, nice ass!" And the girl turns to her boyfriend. She's like, "Are you going to take that? Are you going to let him talk that way?" And then the guy looks at him and says, "Thanks, man. I've been working out." And the first guy says, "Yeah, it shows, Playboy," or some shit. And then another guy comes up, gooses the guy from behind, and says, "Hey, I like your ass. Call me," and turns around. That's the joke. Like that's the turnaround, right? And it was hilarious. It was a misdirect, and I shared it. It was funny. But this is how we get a lot of eyes on things. We have to create a compelling narrative. All right. So anyway, flexibility is super important. And I've had 2 different conversations with people that went 2 different ways completely. The conversation started off with the person coming to me for a PR need. I offered up my interpretation and my plan, my custom plan. And then both of them came at me wanting very specific things. In the first case, I DQ'd the person over email, thanked him. I was polite, but at that point, they wanted specific things that show that they have a complete ignorance of PR. And they wanted a lot of work for almost no money. Never a good client. Never, ever, ever. So she had to go. I'd already had an hour conversation with her over a Zoom. I'd already had 3 emails. I'd already sent her my pitch deck. If she's still asking questions, she's got to fucking find someone else. I've wasted. I should invoice her for my fucking time at this point. So she's gone. The second person, I had a very good PR conversation with, and her needs were very specific, but they weren't as specific. They were a little bit more middle ground. I like where she was coming from. I presented some options. She didn't fight me on them. She shared why she felt certain ways about things. Like she had an opinion on something. I in fact, very specifically, I said, "Why aren't you trying to get this story in all these trade and industry magazines?" And she said, "Because I don't want my competitors learning what I'm doing and taking this idea, this concept, this niche market." And I'm like, holy shit, mind blown. Because I'm seeing this as a PR professional, and you're seeing this as a specialized, business who only needs certain types of PR. And I had the big light bulb. So I stopped being resistant and fighting her on some stuff. But because she explained it, because I'm only seeing it from Rob's lens, and she was seeing it from her design lens. Oops, just gave away the industry. Anyway, so the point is, flexibility is important on both people's parts. If you're looking at hiring a PR person, you want to work with a PR person, walk in allowing for flexibility. I did DQ somebody a year and a half ago, and she probably still hates me, which is fine. Entire call, she just talked at me. She treated me like the help. And she said, hey, I don't want all your services. I don't care about any of that stuff that you do. I just want you to get me in these 2 magazines specifically so I can find rich clients. I metaphorically told her to fuck off. I didn't say, use that level of profanity, but essentially I said, okay, yeah, not going to happen. And blocked her on everything, never talked to her again. And she'd talked to a mutual friend. Does not like me very much, and that's okay. Because she failed the Thor's hammer test. Because only those that are worthy can work with Rob the Warrior Strategist. And I'm not going to help you if you don't want to help the world. I'm not going to help you if you're just out to make money. I'm not going to help you if you're just looking for a specific client so that you, who are already wealthy, can just get more wealthy. And you're not a cool person to work with. I would feel bad working for somebody with that poisoned of a soul. And so I moved on. The ROI on PR is increased web traffic. It is getting your business in front of more eyes, like a megaphone, force multiplier. It is the potential for interviews, and it is increased sales. And I can't give a number. Everyone always, the people that are real analytical thinkers always want the ROI number. They're like, dude, I need to get 20% more sales or otherwise I can't invest in this PR package. Well, buddy, that's not how it fucking works. Sales volume probably will increase if you get some interviews or you get a better social media plan or you get seen in more places, for sure. Absolutely. Here's where PR is a good investment, because we have the jackpot that occurs. The jackpot is when you get on TV. The jackpot is when you get a magazine cover. The jackpot is when your article goes viral. The jackpot is when you're featured in an industry-specific magazine for what you do. In 2023, every client I worked with, and I'm talking 100%, got at least one jackpot. Some had several. That's the ROI in PR. It is not a one-size-fits-all approach. It is a strategy for people that understands the long game. Nothing's guaranteed. But when you get that jackpot, look out. 4 businesses I've almost destroyed with incoming sales, web traffic, overloading their systems. 4. A guy that I got in the largest paper in his region once told me he got 6 months of orders after that article came out. He had to literally get a loan and get a bigger facility. But that's how PR works. Not everyone has the same results across the board. So you want a PR person who can promise you baseline, whatever's reasonable. This is baseline. Let's say this is a good result, not incredible, not crazy. But then for most people, he'll get the jackpot. He or she will get the jackpot spike. Oh, hey, you're going to be on TV today. Oh, hey, you're in the local newspaper. Oh, hey, you're on a magazine cover this month. Oh, hey, a celebrity is going to be, interviewing you today. That's what you should look for in a PR person. Okay, so now we're just talking ROI. The next question that comes up is, should you pay to play for PR? This is a yes, but, because this is a really contentious issue with me. And it almost seems hypocritical because I own a magazine, I sell advertising, and I absolutely sell paid features. I don't hide from it. Most PR companies sell overpriced packages that are pay to play that leverage large, recognizable, overhyped brands. Here's the equivalent. Maseratis can now be had for about $40,000 because they're not a status symbol anymore and their maintenance records are fucking abysmal. I just read this the other day and was amazed because, like everybody else, I assumed Maseratis were like a status symbol. Most PR firms are out there still selling Maseratis for $130,000. That's the equivalent. It's pretty smart. I just figured that out. Point is, most PR firms that do pay to play exclusively are like, hey, we're going to get you in the Forbes zone. You're going to be in the Forbes zone. I'm like, well, fuck. It's got the Forbes name, right? That's incredible. How much? Oh, only $4,000. You'll be in the Forbes zone. This is a real thing, by the way. I'm not just making some shit up. This is out there. You pay the money, you get in the Forbes zone, and then you find out that the Forbes zone isn't a real fucking thing. It is a offshoot knockoff that the PR company, the name has two B's in it. It's two words, BB, created out of fucking air and then is sold to dumb people all around the world who didn't do their freaking due diligence. I'm trying to cuss less. It's not professional, but I get emotional when I talk about this. And then once you are in the Forbes zone and you go back and you have your website and you're like, oh, as featured in Forbes or as featured in the Forbes zone, whatever. Forbes has a company that looks up people using their brand, their logo, and then they're going to hit you up for licensing fees. This really happens. All of you guys should know this. This is the bullshit I see every day that I just shake my head and I'm like, wow, this asshole, and I know exactly who it is. I see his ads still once in a while. This asshole is still doing this stuff. People are out there paying guys on Fiverr to have a loose affiliation with Business Insider or Entrepreneur or whatever and can get somebody, a one-day article on there for thousands of dollars. So point is, pay to play is okay. I'm not trying to talk like Dr. Seuss all day. If you say, yeah, so, pay to play is reasonable if you do need some positioning and you got a couple extra $1,000 and you just want to directly have association with a major label. It's not going to send a flood of people to whatever you're doing. It's just not. I have never, ever, ever in my 7 years of doing this, ever seen somebody do pay to play with a major label brand. And then 5 days later, they're a fucking viral internet celebrity. They're on stage with Les Brown and they're shaking hands with Tony Robbins and they're fucking, I'm glad my brain is a filter. I'll just say having a hamburger with Dean Graziosi. Holy shit. Point is, pay to play should only be a strategy for people that walk into the casino with extra money. Like, if you're successful and you want to just tack on a couple of names and you want to fake it, because that's what it is, it's faking it, pay that $5,000, pay that $4,000, whatever. At times, some pay to play is worth it. You know somebody at Fox News and you can get on one of their dumb fucking shows and you pay a couple $1,000, go for it. Sometimes it's worth it. All right. So we covered pay to play, we covered ROI, we covered flexibility. If you guys are looking for someone to work with, and you want to understand like how to vet them properly, first of all, 80% of the PR firms that are doing Facebook ads are completely full of shit, or they're overselling their results. God, I really try not to name competitors because it doesn't make me look professional. But on the other hand, if some competitors are complete dirtbags and selling complete hot buttered shit, it'd be super unprofessional for me to say Otter PR or Baden Bauer. It would be very unprofessional of me to do that. If you're going to hire an agency or a PR service, you need to have a pitch deck. You need to have past results from them, and they need to provide 1 or 2 people that you can contact and ask about the experience. That's the only way. More people need to vet their PR pros. People put more effort into buying a used car and more research into it than they do handing over thousands of dollars to, some arbitrary dildo who is in a bright red furry fucking jacket and boa and red sunglasses. I didn't say Rudy Mayweather. Did you? I wish there was a fucking Carfax for PR pros. I really do. Anyway, if you're going to spend over $1,000 on PR, they need to have a pitch deck. They need to have past references. They need to have results of their client stuff. My pitch deck has 4 pages of client results. In my career, I have 25 people I've gotten on TV. I have every one of their names listed. I probably have 7 people placed in industry magazines, almost broken 4 companies. I got pretty good stats. And I'm not saying you should work with me, but I'm saying if somebody were to vet me, I got my pitch deck ready to go, full list of my services, what has happened to other people in the past that have worked with me, breakdown of, what everything costs, and a reasonable expectation of baseline that we cover in the call, because I have to vet you and I have to qualify you. I don't just take everybody that comes in the door with a handful of money. I've learned that mistake. If you pass the Thor's hammer test, if you can lift Mjolnir, I will work with you if your cause is righteous. But I don't just work with anybody. I red flag nightmare clients. That's the sign of a good PR pro. All right. Before you invest in a PR pro, final piece of advice. Google their name and the word scam and the word reviews. Check the ripoff report. Ty Lopez still has something like 60 complaints on the Better Business Bureau site. Why do you think that is? Ripoff report give you a good bird's eye view of who's out there doing dirtbag shit. Type in the word scam. Sometimes people on Reddit will have firsthand experiences of what it's like working with people. I read some pretty interesting shit about JT Fox, which was kind of fun. Despite his team's efforts to completely cleanse any negative reviews about his companies. This is how we learn who the sharks are in the water. The people who are only out to take your money, provide almost nothing, but wrapped in a very pretty box with a nice shiny bow. So anyway, I'll wrap up. I didn't expect to go an hour. This was really good. It was good for me. But final call to action. If you guys need a awesome shirt for a coworker or guys from your platoon, check out the military grade autism t-shirt from Ginger and David at reallydesigns.biz. Pick it up. Comes in 3 different colors. It is a long-lasting, durable shirt. I dare you to wear this to the gym. You will be the coolest person in there. And this shirt actually isn't a joke making fun of autistic people. It is a celebration of neurodivergent people getting in the military and actually not getting kicked the fuck out anymore. Because I'm living proof. So you're actually celebrating all those weird fucks like myself with ADD, ADHD, learning disabilities, autism, dyslexia, any of that shit. Pick up the shirt. It's an eye catcher. All right, that's all I got for today. If you want to get this shirt, www.reallydesigns.biz. Send me a screenshot that you bought this shirt, and I will send you a free PR gift. That's always a promise. Ebook, little consult, whatever. I'll help you out. Support me. Support veterans. I'll support you. All right. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. Really appreciate this. We got Dallas Poor out in a sport bike ride. Stay safe out there, my friend. And thanks, Marshall, Brian Big Country Conwell, everybody that tuned in today. Lori McNeil, who just did Fashion Week in New York, just out there being beautiful and glamorous and enticing men the world over. Thank you, Lori McNeil, for all you do for the business community. That's all I got for today. I'm starting back up doing some client work. I'm recovering from being very, very sick for a couple days. I grew a sick handlebar because this is what creative idiots do when they spend too much time alone in their home. Anyway, I love you guys. I am having just a quick reminder, I'm having my public group call today, 1 o'clock p.m. PST. I'll pop it onto my main feed on Facebook, but we get together for an hour. We talk about personal stuff, business stuff. It's always a good hang, a lot of veterans. All are welcome. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. You don't have to be a veteran. You don't have to be a fucking business owner. If you're just a cool person that wants to meet other cool people, pop on there. We talk about wacky shit. Just go to my Facebook in like 5 minutes. And I'll have the link up, the Zoom link. We talk for about an hour. It's just a good way to connect with people and meet some of my insane friends. All right, that's all I got for today, guys. Thank you so much. This is my first broadcast in a couple days. I feel like it went well. Give you guys some good info. I am Rob Garcia, the Warrior Strategist, and as always, stay famous. Love you guys. See you soon.